So, what brings you to visit lonely old one Samdi?
Yo guys, what's going on? It's your boy Big Arc. Hopefully you're doing all good and hopefully you had a fantastic weekend. I do plan for this video to come out on Sunday, but I am recording this earlier during the week just so I have some content to put out while I'm studying for my midterms. So probably as you can tell from this video and the title, I am going into a in-depth restoration shaman guide. Basically, I'm going to be covering the class and the spec itself, the stats and the gear that you want to look for. I'm going to be going over the talent build for PvE, whether that be through Mythic plus dungeons or raid content, depending on what kind of content you're going to be facing. I'm going to dive into the rotation as well as the covenants that you're going to want to pick for your resto shaman. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to the video. Alright guys, so for this part of the video I just want to introduce the shaman itself and the resto specialization. So if you've never played a shaman in World of Warcraft, you can kind of expect it to be one with the elements. So whatever specialization you play, it kind of calls from all the fire, water, earth, and air elements to deal its damage against its opponents. More specifically, it has a wide use of totems which have different effects, whether that be stunning effects or CC removing effects depending on what kind of totem you put down. But specifically for resto shamans, they are the healer specialization and they have totems that will basically heal the group as well as mitigate damage coming in and even restore a bit of mana, which is really nice. So overall, resto shamans are really good at your cluster healing. So whenever you have party members or raid members that are grouped together, that's when they will shine. If there is group-wide damage going on and they are all close together, you can definitely see your resto shaman topping the charts. The strengths of the resto shaman is they are really good at that stack group healing, like I said, but also they are able to move around and heal as well. So they have an ability called Spirit Walker's Grace, which we will get into, which allows them to use their rotation on the move. So it's only for about 15 seconds, I believe, but any spell that you normally have to be standing still for can be used while casting, so that's super nice. They also do have powerful healing tools unique to their class only. So they have Ancestral Vigor, so every time you put a Riptide on a target, this is talented by the way, but every time you put a Riptide on a target, you're able to increase their health total, and that is really nice. They also have Protection Totems and Spirit Link Totems, which we will also get into right away. But besides their healing, they also have really good non-healing totems. So you have good Interrupts, you have good Dispels, you also have good CC removal ones, as well as like Binding Totems. So you can really root your targets. They're really good in PvP too, but as well as PvE. But the only weaknesses I can say is they don't really have their own self cooldown. There's not really a button you can hit where you're in trouble and you can pop. You have a shield, which we'll get into, but there isn't really a big heal that you can pop on yourself, such as like a Paladin's Bubble or something of that caliber. So they're also mediocre when the group is super spread out. So if you're fighting a raid boss and everyone has to spread out kind of like in a circle, which is very rare nowadays, but if you are in that situation, the shaman isn't going to really be the class for you. It's not going to be the top healer. They also don't have that much mobility. I mean, they have the Spirit Wolf, but there's only so much you can do with that, right? I mean, people are getting these boosts where they can basically jump from one side of the map to the other. Shamans just have their good old reliable Spirit Wolf, so there's that. But as well, another weakness I want to say is they don't really have the best sustained single target healing, and they don't really have tank cooldowns that they can use, such as like a pain suppression for a Disc Priest or, you know, something of that caliber. But overall, if you're in like any content where you're going to be grouped up, so Mythic pluses or even some boss fights where you have to stack and soak, you can definitely see Resto Shaman being the best healer, and you will definitely see a Resto Shaman wanted in every single group that you play. So that is just a bit about the class itself. Alright guys, so in this part of the video, I just want to do a quick touch on what the stats are going to look like for your Resto Shaman and kind of what you want to prioritize going into things. So you want to prioritize the stats as follows. I'm going to show them on screen here. So the first thing is item level, which is kind of odd, but I'll get to in a second. And then tied for second is versatility and critical strike, and then tied for third is haste and mastery. So basically, your item level is your most important thing because the higher the item level, the higher the intellect. And the higher the intellect you have, the harder heals you're going to be putting out. So shamans have really good base heals, so that's why intellect is going to be up top, which is based on your item level. Following that, versatility and critical strike are kind of tied for second. So if you don't know, versatility is kind of like critical strike, where it just increases your damage and your healing done, whereas critical strike just, you know, increases the chance of critical strike. And then third is haste and mastery. So haste is obviously good, especially for shamans. It would be really nice because a lot of their healing is done through cast spells. So you have to cast healing rain, you have to cast healing wave, healing surge, and your chain heal. So it would be nice if you had a bit more haste. That would really just speed up the cast a little bit, but it's not as important as, you know, the item level, versatility, critical strike. And that brings us to mastery. So the mastery for the resto shaman is deep healing. So it allows you to heal more for when you're targeting lower health allies. So pretty much the tooltip will read, increases the healing from your spells up to 24% based on the current health of your target. Lower health targets are healed for more. So this is really good, obviously, because if you're doing raid-wide healing or group-wide healing, you're going to be healing the targets that are lower for a whole lot more. So it'll bring them up to health more, which is really, really nice. But obviously it isn't as important just because shaman's heals are so strong in general. That's why we prioritize intellect. So this is the stat order that you want to go in, and this is how you're going to be successful if you prioritize these stats. So next thing I'm going to get into is the talents, and then following that, we're going to hop into the rotation. Alright guys, so in this part of the video I'm going to be going over the talents that you're going to want to use for your resto shamans. So I'm going to be going in the order of raid talents first, and then what you can switch out for Mythic Plus. So I'm just going to get right into it by starting at the level 15 bracket. You have Torrent, so your initial heal from Riptide is increased by 20%, Undulation, so every third healing wave or surge heals for an additional 50%, or Unleash Life, so basically increases the effect of the shaman's next heal by 35%. So for your raids, you're definitely going to be doing a lot of damage mitigation. So people are always going to be low. No one's really going to be topped up on health that much. So you're going to pick Unleash Life, and basically amplifies your next heal towards any target by 35%. So this is really good, especially if like a tank drops down to say 50% health. You can pop that and then pop your healing surge, and you know he's up a whole lot more than he would be without it. So it's a really good just in case talent that you can use. But you can also use Torrent if you want. I mean, if you want to put a heal over time effect on 2 tanks, that's also a thing too. So we'll get into the exact abilities later, but definitely you can swap out Torrent or Unleash Life for your raid talents. We're going to get into the Echo of the Elements. So basically, 3 of some of the most important spells are listed here. So your Riptide, Healing Stream Totem, and Lava Burst now have 2 charges. So that is with this talent here. Any effects that reset the remaining cooldown will instead get 1 charge. So this is really nice. You can see on my bars below here that Riptide 2 charges. The totem here has 2 charges, and Lava Burst has 2 charges. So this is really, really nice. I'll get into why more into the rotation, but to sum it up, basically helps you spread your heals a whole lot more, helps you build up heals and then release them, calling in the totem for that kind of reference there. But really, really good at just building up your heals before you release them. For your level 30 talent, you're going to want to pick either Spirit Wolf here. This is kind of your survivability talent, so depending on if you're doing like PvP, you're going to pick Static Charge or Earth Grab Totem. Even PvE for some kind of like Mythic dungeons, I mean, you could put Static Charge for that, but otherwise you're going to want to pick Spirit Wolf. So whenever you're in ghost form, you gain 5% increased movement speed and 5% damage reduction every 1 second, stacking up to 4 times, so you can get 20% bonus speed as well as a 20% damage reduction. So that is really, really nice there. For your 30 bracket, if you're doing PvE in raiding, I would definitely pick that, but if you're doing Mythic Plus, definitely go to Static Charge. So for the 35 level talent, this is kind of where it gets a little tricky. I personally rock Ancestral Vigor, so anytime I cast some of my main heals like Healing Wave, Healing Surge, Chain Heal, or Riptide, the target will gain 10% health for 10 seconds, which is really, really good for tanks. Especially, it's kind of like your own sort of rallying cry. Any target that you cast Riptide on will basically get that 10% health pot bonus, so that is really nice there. However, you can use either like Earthen Wall Totem, so pretty much like redirects damage from the raid towards the totem itself, or you can use the protection totem. So pretty much everyone around this totem gains 10% health as well. So if you're doing this in a lot of fights where you're stacking, I would definitely pick Ancestral Protection Totem. But if you're doing it where you're more spread out, I would definitely pick Ancestral Vigor. So depending on what kind of fight you're going to be facing, these 2 are both viable options. Ancestral Protection, again, for your stacked, more claustrophobic fights. Ancestral Vigor for if you're spread out a bit more. For your level 40 talent, Remember when I said earlier that shamans don't really have their own heal for themselves? Well, this is where I kind of go against the grain. So normally I would tell people to go for Graceful Spirit. So pretty much your movement casting ability, the ability that makes you cast your abilities on the move, is reduced by 60 seconds, and your movement speed is increased while you use that ability. So that's what Graceful Spirit does. But Nature's Guardian gives you your own heal. So whenever your health is brought below 35%, you instantly heal for 25%, bringing you back up to 55%. It happens just under once a minute, so once every 45 seconds, which is really, really nice. If you want your own personal heal, I would definitely pick Nature's Guardian. But however, Graceful Spirit is really, really good for your movement fights in raids. That's why I have it selected right now. So if you have to run around and you constantly have to keep up multiple like chain heals or something like that, the movement cooldown reduce is really, really nice. So the reduction of that is really nice, pardon me. Moving forward from that, you can have your level 45 talents. So you have Flash Flood. So whenever you consume tidal waves, the cast time of your next heal is reduced by 20%. You have Downpour. So a burst of water at the target location heals up to 6 injured allies within 12 yards. And you have Cloudburst Totem. So this replaces your Healing Stream Totem. And no matter what kind of content you're facing, whether it be raiding or Mythic Plus, you're going to want to pick Cloudburst Totem. So basically, you're going to put out your feet, and any type of healing that you do will pretty much stack into the totem, and 30% of that healing that you do gets released. So anyone that's within 40 yards will get all that healing released on them evenly. So it's really, really nice. It could be that extra heal that you didn't even know you had, especially when you pair it with Echo of the Elements. You have 2 of those charges, and it's a 30-second cooldown. So, I mean, you can really, really maximize your healing that way and get a bunch of AoE heals just by popping that and healing how you normally would. So whatever content you're doing, definitely pick Cloudburst Totem. That is going to be your go-to every time. For raiding, you're going to want to pick Wellspring. So basically, I'm sure you've seen it before. It moves it forward, a whole wave forward, and anyone that's hit by that wave gets healed for a certain amount. If you're in raid-wide content and you're able to stack, I would definitely pick Wellspring. But if you're doing like Mythic Plus or a bit more spread out raiding, I would definitely pick Ascendance. So Ascendance basically duplicates all healing you do for 15 seconds, and it heals you for 8,000, or it says almost 9,000 immediately. So anytime I do this extra healing, it's divided evenly amongst my allies. So anyone in my raid group that's close to me, I can pop this and I'll be able to just get all those extra heals. I like to think of it as that mastery bonus that Mistweaver monks have. They have Gust of Mist, so they get that second heal whenever they cast those Vivifies or Enveloping Mist. So the Ascendance kind of basically turns you into a powerhouse for a second, where you have Gusts of Mists-ish kind of stuff on every single spell. So that is really, really nice there. This is pretty much it for your raid talents that I would pick. Definitely for Mythic Plus, you can switch between Unleash Life or Torrent again, even Undulation. So I like to think Undulation would be the best though in Mythic Plus environments, just because you're doing a whole lot more of your healing waves and healing surges, just because your tank is getting hit by a whole bunch. I mean, you're trying to time that key, you're trying to push that key, so you're definitely pulling bigger mobs than you would. So you're going to be casting a lot more healing surges than you think. So having one that heals for an additional 50% every 3 times really, really comes in handy. So for Mythic Plus, I would definitely pick Undulation, and then I would keep Echo of the Elements because it gives you your 2 charges. But for Mythic Plus, forget about Spirit Wolf. Get you your stun here. So it reduces the cooldown of your Capacitor Totem, which is your stun, and basically it just increases that overall. I would definitely pick either the Earthen Wall Totem or Ancestral Vigor for your Mythic Plus, just because now that you have less people to worry about, your Riptide healing bonus, that 10% health increase, could be really, really good, because you can put it on at least 3 to 4 targets, so that'll be really good for them to have. But otherwise, you can just put the Earthen Wall Totem down, and not all, pardon me, but some damage that goes to the raid group will be directed towards the totem, so it'll save a lot of damage and healing for you on there. For your level 40, I would definitely pick Nature's Guardian or Graceful Spirit, just because in Mythic Plus, you're going to be a bit more selfish for yourself. So if you need that heal for yourself, if you're constantly getting hit and you're worried about the group, definitely pick Nature's Guardian for yourself. But if you want to keep that movement speed bonus, pardon me, not movement speed bonus, but that movement speed reduction on the cooldown, definitely pick Graceful Spirit. You're going to still want to rock Cloudburst Totem, and you're still going to want to rock Ascendance. So that's pretty much it for your talents for the Resto Shaman. So we went over the raid talents first, and then the Mythic Plus talents second. And next thing I'm going to get into is the rotation. So see you in the next clip. Alright guys, so in this portion of the video, I'm going to get into the rotations and kind of what you're going to want to get into as a resto shaman. So it's pretty rinse and repeat for every kind of encounter you're going to be in, so I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. We already went over a bit of Riptide, so pretty much you're going to want to put this on your tank and another target. It has a 5-second cooldown, and with your talent you have 2 stacks of it, so you can put it on multiple people. And basically every single person that has this has their 10% health increase, and they have a heal over time effect, as well as you stack tidal waves. So pretty much every time you do it, the cast of your next healing wave is reduced by 20%, and the critical strike chance of your next healing surge is increased by 40% as well. So really good combo. If someone is in trouble, they get an instant heal from getting it put on them, as well as a heal over time, and then you have a 40% chance to increase your healing surge there. Which brings me to my next 2 spells. It is Healing Wave and Healing Surge. So Healing Wave is kind of your basic healing ability. It's your slow heal, but does a decent chunk of healing. This is pretty good if you're not under pressure. You can just spam a Healing Wave if you got the time. Doesn't cost too much mana. You pretty much regen most of it by the time you finish casting your second one. But if you are in a little bit of a pickle, you can cast Healing Surge. It is a quicker heal, but it heals for a little bit less. So if you really have to top someone up, you can definitely use that. And it comes a whole lot in handy when you use your Unleash Life earlier, so that 35% direct heal increase. If you're using on a tank who's going down, you can really pop them up quickly. Just a quick Riptide, Unleash Life, and then a quick healing surge, and you have a cool 40% added onto your 35%, and that makes for a big heal, which is really nice. We're going to get into the AoE heals that you have now. So you have chain heal, so pretty much any not NPCs, but any players that are close to you will basically be subject to a heal around you, which is really nice. Normally there's an animation where it just shoots water to everyone around you, but unfortunately no one wants to hang out with me right now. Regardless, we're going to move on to Healing Rain. So pretty much does exactly what it sounds like it does. It's like a Druid's Efflorescence, so anyone standing in the circle, I believe they get healed for about 1700. They're healed for 1646, so right in the middle, for 6 allies over, I think it's 10 seconds. So really good if you have like stacked players and you're just able to put it down, and if anyone takes damage, you could just, you know, do a couple chain heals, Riptides on the people nearby, and everyone here will be topped up and good to go. I did throw some footage in at the beginning of the video, so you can kind of see how I play that rotation as well. But regardless, we're going to get into our next main thing that we kind of want to keep up on cooldown. It's our Cloudburst Totem. So this is the talent that I said before. Basically, when you put it down, any healing you do, like 30% of it is basically put out to anyone within 40 yards. So if you're doing a whole bunch of raid-wide healing, this is really cool here, because once it expires, it'll basically go out. You'll see it'll expire here soon. And basically I got that big burst of healing because I was standing nearby. So that's really good. You're going to want to keep that on cooldown because you have 2 charges. And basically by the time you finish using your second one, you're going to have one up already. So you kind of never run out of these unless you're really good at predicting when they're going to come up. But if you do want to cancel it, you just hit it again and it'll explode right there. So you're always going to want to keep that on cooldown, because basically any healing that you do is just going to be released back at a 30% of what you've done. So really nice. We're going to get into our Spirit Walker's Grace. So this is pretty much what allows us to move and cast. So you're allowed to cast for 15 seconds, where normally anything that you had to cast while standing still, you can just cast while moving, which is really nice. So that's really good if you're in fights where you basically just have to move around a whole bunch. Hello, Vaticus. Basically, whenever you have to move around a whole bunch, you can pop that and basically keep up all of the people you need to without sacrificing your mobility, which is really nice. Especially with the talent Graceful Spirit, it's reduced by 60 seconds, so it only has a 1-minute cooldown instead of 2, which is really nice depending on what kind of boss fight you're going into. Moving on from there, we do have a couple totems that you're going to want to keep watch of. So we have your Healing Tide totem, which is kind of your big pumper of a totem. So you basically had your Cloudburst. Well, this is basically a big totem that'll pump out massive heals to anyone within 40 yards. Like every 1.9 seconds it hits, and you can see here like he's getting hit pretty decently for 350. So if you're in a situation where you got to heal up a whole bunch of people, you're going to want to use that. That's your main cooldown, tied with Ascendance, so that's a 3-minute cooldown. Then you have Spirit Link Totem. So pretty much anyone within the same area, this totem is going to have their health averaged out. So this is really, really good if you have to like damage mitigate or bring someone really low up to like a decent height, because especially if they're stacked and someone's taking damage, you can basically save someone and that whole group just by mitigating their health and making it all the same. So this is another cooldown. You can see this is what it looks like to cast here. Anyone in here will kind of get their health. It's only up for 5 seconds, so they get their health kind of, you know, fixed, and you can kind of keep healing from there. So really, really good. Another one of your cooldowns. You also have a earth shield that you're going to want to put on the target that you want to increase your healing for. So typically it is the tank. So anyone that has the earth shield on them will get their healing increase on them by 20%. And whenever they take damage, they get healed for 441. So you can see that it has 9 charges. Basically after the 9th charge, it gets taken off, and you can only have one target. You can only have it on one target at a time. So kind of like a druid's life flume, but it has that heal over time effect whenever they get hit. So that is really, really nice there. Moving forward, we do have mana tide totem. So one of the great things about Shaman is if you really go out of mana quickly, you can pop this totem and you have 100% increased mana regeneration for party and raid members within 20 yards. So you're not even a selfish guy holding all that mana regen to yourself. You're able to do it for other healers too, which is really nice. I find I don't go out of mana too often on my Shaman, but when I do, or if I even get close to it, you can just pop this and you'll be a-okay. So this is what it looks like here. Everything kind of has the same blue aura around it and kind of does their own thing. It lasts for only a few seconds, so you got to make the most use of it, but otherwise that is that. Otherwise, you have your damaging abilities. So you have your flame shock, lightning bolt, and lava burst, which are just your main damaging rotation that you're going to want to do. You have 2 things that you're going to want to keep up on you at all time as a healer, and that is water shield. So pretty much you gain 50 mana per every 5 seconds, and whenever you get hit by a melee attack, the caster regains 2% of their mana. So really, really good to just keep up in general. Like, who doesn't want free mana as a healer? That is really, really nice. And then you also have flame tongue weapons. So basically just helps you increase that extra damage too, which is really, really nice. Those are 2 things that you're always going to want to keep up. We went over Ascendance, which is kind of like your big burst cooldown. Like if you have to do a whole bunch of healing, you can really do some good burst healing. I mean, if you're in that AoE group situation, I mean, you can pop Ascendance, your totem, and then your Spirit Link totem here. So your Cloudburst, Spirit Link, and then your Healing Tide totem. And everything that will go on is going to be a whole bunch of healing, and then it's just a big bonus after when 30% of that is just splashed onto the raid group too. So Ascendance, this is what it looks like here. You basically turn into like this huge being, and like any healing that's going on is just like so much. Like you can see like people are getting healed over here. Like he's not even close to me and he's still getting like all those heal over time effects. Now look at like when I stack this on him here, everything's going to expire here, and boom, everyone gets all that nice healing. So that is super duper nice. You can definitely do a whole bunch of burst healing like I said with this, so that is awesome. Regardless, that's pretty much it for the rotation. I'm going to get into the Covenant next, which will pretty much impact your rotation a little bit, but you'll see in the next part of the video. Alright guys, so as you can probably tell, I am in the Venthyr hall. You can definitely see that I picked Venthyr as my Covenant, and I didn't go over this ability before, but it is Chain Harvest. So pretty much it is a group damage and group heal that does a whole bunch of healing, and yes, it does stack into your Cloudburst totem, and yes, you can boost the healing of it with your Unleashed Life. So pretty much if me and him are standing together, and I pop this as well as the totem, and then I pop Chain Harvest, you can see like there is a whole bunch of healing that is done. So that's 8,000 on him, and that's 8,000 on everyone that's hit. So it only hits up to 6 people, I believe, up to 5 people actually, and damages 5 enemies. So really, really good for your Mythic Plus. That's kind of why I picked it. For Mythic Plus, you're going to want to pick Venthyr. However, for raiding, if you're really, really comfortable with playing Resto Shaman, you can pick Necrolord. There is also Kyrian as an option, so they're a good catch-all specialization. So any type of content you're going to be doing, it's an easy Covenant to pick up. It has a totem ability, which isn't too hard to play with. But if you want a bit more of a difficulty thing of it, you can definitely pick Necrolord. So Necrolord is hard, Kyrian is kind of average, and Venthyr is easy, but it does have that powerful Chain Harvest ability. So depending on which kind of style you're going to be doing, whether it be raiding, I would go Necrolord, Mythic Plus, Venthyr, and anything else I would just pick Kyrian. So that's pretty much it for Covenants, and there's not too much after that. So I'm just going to see you in the outro. Alright guys, so I'm just going to have some footage playing in the background here, but thank you so much for tuning into my Resto Shaman guide. If you do have any questions, comments, or concerns about the class and specialization, just leave it in the comments below and I'll be sure to get back to you. I do want to do more of the DPS specs, whether that be enhancement or elemental, so once I get more familiar with it, I'll definitely make a guide on it coming soon. If you do have any more things you want to try to delve into, any more harder questions, you can definitely hit up Icy Veins or Wowhead. They'll give you a great description on the spec and class. I guarantee you'll see most of the same stuff that I told you, but just in a lot more greater detail. I just tried to keep these videos a little bit shorter rather than going on for a full hour. But regardless, thank you so much for watching. If you do like the content and you do like the channel, you can go ahead and subscribe. We're doing another WoW token giveaway at 2,000 subscribers, and all you have to do is be subscribed to the channel and I will pull a random name out of my subs list. So best of luck to everyone, and hopefully we reach that goal pretty soon. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.